So much. The next message is going to be in Spanish. Hola, buenos días a todos. Para los que estén en esta reunión y deseen la línea de interpretación en español, por favor marquen la línea que también está ubicada en el chat. Es el número 347-966-4114 con el número PIN 245-179-655 y tecla numeral. Repito nuevamente, el número es 374-966-4114 con el número PIN 245-179-655 y tecla numeral. Lo pueden encontrar también en el chat y les pedimos de favor que silencien sus micrófonos para que la interpretación sea clara. Muchas gracias. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mandarin interpreters, please.
大家下午好，如果想要收听翻译，请输入电话号码347-966-4114，并输入密码461-049-937，然后按井字。如果你想收听翻译，同时留在我们这个 Zoom 会议室上，以便在电脑上收看会议，请把你的电脑和麦克风都调到静音，然后在你的电话上输入会议专线。重复一次，电话号码347-966-4114，并输入密码461-049-937，然后按井字。This is the end of the Mandarin announcement. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Husbands, you could proceed. I'm sorry.
Thank you, interpreters. My co-chairs for transition and outreach, please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Christy Montbon. I'm the recording secretary for our council, and I'm also the co-chair for the transition committee. I'm excited for this presentation today. Thank you everyone for coming, and I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Angel, the outreach chair.
Thank you so much, Christy. My name is Christy Angel, and I am the treasurer for the CCD 75 Council. I am also the chair for the Outreach Committee, and I am very excited for the presentation that we have for you guys today and excited for the information. We will additionally have this on YouTube for any people that do want to go back and review, or if people have missed this meeting, it will be up and available for them. Thank you.
Thank you both. And thank you for collaborating with the Safety Committee. Today, we are going to have a presentation from David Abrahams from the Travel Training Program. Mr. Abrahams?
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Hello, Miss Aisha Husband. Hello, Miss Amy Singh. I've two of my best buddies that I haven't spoken to in a while. Glad to present today on the District 75 Office of Travel Training. Kind of give you a quick explanation of how the program works, a little bit of our history and some of the benefits, and that you could share with your constituents, your parents, and anyone who needs to get access to independent travel. I'm going to share my screen so I can start to share a PowerPoint. So let me know if you can see it. Does everyone see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
All right, awesome. All right, so first, always like to start this presentation with a young man. His name is Benny. He was a student that participated in the travel training program. And he came back to the district office one day and just had an impromptu interview with Susan Abdelizer, who was our media specialist at the time. And why I like for you to see this young man is because he gives a true expression of what it felt for him to enter our program and to complete the program. And it's just so important because, you know, we have a tendency to want to keep our children safe, but we have to balance it with giving them independence, and we can teach our students to be safe and not just keep them confined and under the coastal eye, as we all want to be independent one day. As our students need it as well, and public transportation is usually the only mode that they will have to be able to accomplish for their lives. So the travel training program is essential for these people to receive it so that they can go forward with their lives and be contributing members to society. So let's watch this video, and then I would like any feedback from what after you watch it. Thank you.
And I want to talk about my life, travel training. I've been travel training when I was 17. I've been travel training since October of 2004. And it was time for me not to use the school bus. It was time for me to travel independently from high school to home. And in November, middle of November, and I passed the test. My mom was happy. I mean, my aunts, a lot of my family members were happy for me to travel independently from high school to home that day, November 2004. My mom cried. I cried. Hey, you did. She said I did well, you know? That was the end of me. And I travel independently all the time, every day.
That sounds like it was one of the most important things that happened to you.
One of the happiest, the proudest moments since 12 years. I passed the test of travel training, ready for me to be independent, travel independently.
Anyone have any thoughts about that young man? Can anyone identify with his sentiments? Well, that is the kind of feelings that we receive a lot from our students. We've heard it many times over these years that learning to travel was the badge of honor for them and the most important thing that they accomplish sometimes, you know, and because again, it opens the doors for them for the future. The schools can prepare the students with all the academics and prepare them from a job, but if they cannot independently reach that job, then everything they learn may not be suffice to them. So I'm going to give some quick information about the background of the program. In 1970, we were initiated, so we've been this is our 22nd year in the New York City Department of Education. In 97, included in the IDEA regulations under the definition of special education. 1998, part of the Rehabilitation Act. 2004, included in an IDEA improvement regulations under definition of special education, and recognized an essential part in transition planning. Okay, so there are a few other travel training programs in the transit and maybe a few agencies, but ours is kind of the top model, and our District 75 model is such. We are short-term, comprehensive, intensive one-to-one instruction, focused on the skills and behaviors necessary for traveling safely and independently, use of public transportation where applicable, and based on an assessment of students' travel-related skills, abilities, and needs. So we are not IEP driven. We are based on an assessment, and you must be deemed eligible. Every student is given an individualized training plan that will depend on their experience and their cognitive level. We are specially trained personnel. So the District 75 Office of Travel Training, we are 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is what we are doing it for the district's office. I have another video I would like for you to see. This is a student named Jennifer. She was a very capable young woman. However, her hurdle was that she had anxiety problems when traveling. So to help elude them, she would kind of keep a journal, and she was a great artist. And so to So she created this little journal for herself. And with the help again of Susan Abdeliza from the district office, we animated it. The student then narrated this little short movie. And again, it expresses how she feels about gaining independence from the District 75 Office of Travel Training.
Like a bird out of its cage, I finally set myself free. In other words, I finally devoted myself a great deal of independence. 2013 in my book was my year filled with wonderful, inspirational success stories. Travel Train being one of them. I couldn't have been any happier without the help, support, and love from my family, and most importantly, the travel training staff. What a fantastic chapter of my life it was. For now, the so-called cheese bus is a thing of the past. Water under the bridge, dust swept under the rug. And for now, I am nothing more than a happy traveler with the golden ticket of independence, the MetroCard, in my hand. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and I made it through that important journey of life. Before, I was a caged bird trapped in a yellow bus, looking through glass. And now, I just spread my wings and fly. And I am just a free bird singing the praises of how well my travel trainer guided me through the right path every step of the way.
Again, anyone want to share any thoughts about this young woman? She This is how many of the students feel. They feel like the MetroCard is the golden ticket, and they're free to escape off the cheesy bus. This is a place that they do not want to be. And again, what's great about our job is that we're teaching a subject that students want and have to behave appropriately to attain. And we hear it often that after they complete our program, their personalities, their self-esteem just changes all for the positive. And again, it's a life-changing time for them. I'm going to share with you a quick letter we received this year from a parent, and again, just letting you to understand how important this is to our students and to the parents themselves. So I'll read this quick letter that we received just a couple of weeks ago. This is to a travel training teacher named Devin. It says, "Good morning, Miss Devin. I want to share with you a success Edwin had yesterday afternoon during his commute home. When the Q5 reached 231st Street and Merrick Boulevard, the bus driver announced that the bus would not be going to Rosedale or Green Acres. Everyone has to get off at that stop. Edwin called me right away, was able to tell me exactly where he was and what he was going to do. He said he had to wait for another Q5 and asked the driver if it was going to 136th Avenue and Hook Creek Boulevard. He seemed very calm and sure of himself. He called a few minutes later to say that a Q5 Limited was coming, but he wasn't going to take it. He wanted to wait for the regular Q5. When he didn't call back after a few minutes, I tracked his phone and saw that he was on the bus. After 15 minutes, he called to say he was home. To say we are proud is an understatement. This shows that what we already knew. You and Mr. Barat and the rest of the team did an amazing job preparing Edwin for his daily commute. He knew exactly what to do and was safe. Edwin, on the first day of school, didn't know any of this. He's come so far. We are ever so grateful because this opens up a world of opportunities for him as far as JIB training programs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please share this message with Mr. Barat, who was the travel trainer, and the others who worked with Edwin. Also, please let me know where I can send this email to your direct supervisors. I know this is all in a day's work for you, but it means so much to us. We want to tell the world. Have a great day." From Marie Magnan. And I have also one more letter from another parent to whom it may concern. I just wanted to take the time to thank you for this wonderful program. Reaching such an important milestone / life skills is our only goal as a parent of a child with special needs. And without this program, I don't know if this would be a reality today. I would also like to give a huge thank you to Narissa G for everything she has done to make this possible. On the occasions I was able to meet her, she was always timely and very pleasant. This is a very positive asset to this program. I did not get to meet the other trainers, but I would also like to extend a thank you to them as well. Thank you for preparing these children for the world. I am also so thankful, very thankful. This program plays such an important role in bringing these very special children to their highest potential and the opportunity so that one day they can be a great asset not only to their community but to the world. So thank you a million times. Thank you. I mean, it is an awesome feeling to hear from parents, and they are our main customers, the ones that we have to talk to. It's very difficult for parents to sometimes give permission for their children to enter the program, but over and over again, they are so grateful and thankful. And it takes time for them to really uh, let their children go. But it is critical for their future. And again, we as parents, we always want to keep our children safe, but we have to think about what will life be if we're not there. And we want our children to be as independent without us as possible because we know no one can take as good care of our children as we are. So as we will as parents. So we want to make sure that have a future ahead of themselves, and independent travel is just a part of that. All right, I'm going to share some travel training facts about our program. And we daily correspond with the parents through notes, through conversations, physical, verbal conversations, phone calls. Um, and we hope to see them every morning when we pick up the children and we drop them home in the afternoon. We daily document our what is for educational and legality purposes. So everything is documented, and we could always refer to notes for just for our teaching um, strategies. We train all disabilities except the blind. That would be orientation and mobility. Students with a full-time one-to-one paraprofessional are not eligible. Why? Because that says that they can't be alone in the school, so that would prohibit them from entering our program. All right. We need the one-to-one powers reduced or removed before they can enter. All travel trainers are paraprofessionals, the ones that come to the home, qualified by specialized training, working under the supervision and guidance of a travel training teacher. Some frequently asked questions, and I'm hoping I get some responses from our constituents today, because I have a few questions of what you may be thinking. Who is eligible for travel training? Students with disabilities other than blindness or visual impairments ages 14 to 21 who require instruction in travel skills and techniques in order to use public transportation safely and independently. Can someone from our audience take a guess of how long do they think it takes to travel train one student? Some of you probably may have seen this presentation before. If you think uh, if you heard this presentation, please don't answer. But can I get one person to kind of take a guess how long they think it takes to travel train a person, a student with a disability, 14 to 21 that has never traveled on public transportation?
Year and a half.
A year and a half. Very good guess. Anyone else want to try?
Possibly 3 months.
3 months. Those are often the type of time frames people will guess, but actually it takes us 2 to 3 weeks average training time. We prepare the students ahead of time. And again, remember, well, we have a waiting list of right now specifically of 350 students referred. So we have many students we have to get to. If it took us that long, we would never get to even a tenth of the students that are on our wait list. So what we do is prepare them ahead of time so that when they enter the program, they can hopefully complete within the 2 to 3 weeks. That's just an average time. Sometimes it's less, sometimes it goes longer. And I'll explain how we prepare them ahead of time. What percentage of students are successful? I'll just jump in and let you know we have a 90% success rate. And that reason is although a student may be cognitive and effective and or have some travel experience, sometimes they don't follow the rules. And our program is very strict with following rules. So if you're not following the rules of why of that we've set forth, then we're not gonna recommend you. So sometimes it's even harder to train students who have that experience because they have so many bad habits. But we are very strict on our street crossing rules, and I'll get into that a little bit later. And so that is why our success rate is 90%. And also, we sometimes put a student in there who maybe will need more than one time to get the program. There are some that are close, and we're not sure if they meet all the criteria, but we give them a chance. We have a philosophy that we believe you can do it, and that we're going to teach you like you can do it. So you will have to prove to us that you cannot. So with that being said, sometimes we give some students a chance and they're not successful because of safety. And again, our program is built on safety. If we don't feel it's safe, we're going to let the parent know we don't recommend them. Can someone try to take a guess as to what they think or why they think students are unsuccessful? Again, we're talking about a 14 to 21-year-old student with a disability that has never traveled. What do you think are the hardest hurdles or obstacles for them to overcome when learning to travel?
Sensory,
Claudia said anxiety.
Anxiety. Anyone else?
sensory,
Sensory issues. hmm Anyone else? Well, I will let you know the reasons why students are usually unsuccessful in our program are due to unsafe street crossings and inappropriate social behaviors. Again, we have strict rules about street crossing. We are teaching our students to stop at the corners, look left, look right, look around the corner before crossing with the lights, never cross in the middle of the block. We wait for fresh cycles. We don't cross on a blinking light. We never run across the street. We never wear our headphones. We don't talk on a cell phone while crossing the street. All these infractions would cause the student to be unsuccessful in travel training. And again, with the social behaviors, we do assessments on students, and they all say they don't talk to strangers. But as soon as they get out there, some of them they do exactly that. They talk to strangers because they've never encountered a stranger before. We're always protecting them. They're always in school or with our parents, but now they're by themselves and they've seen other people talking to people they don't know, and they try to follow that. But we teach our students to not talk to strangers, and sometimes it takes a long time to break those bad habits. And parents and educators sometimes might have to teach your students to be a little rude. Maybe, even if someone asks them something and they may know the answer, say, no, I don't talk to strangers, and just walk away. Some of our students don't know where to draw the line. So, and there's other behaviors as far as socially, do they cut the line, and do they just invade personal space, stare at people? So those are some of the social issues that students have that sometimes they're not over to overcome in a fast enough period to complete our program. So those are the things you're going to be thinking about when you're home, or we should need to tell our parents they have to start working on immediately. All right. So the referral process in the school works as such. Administrators, counselors, therapists, teachers, parents, and the students themselves can come knock on our door and initiate a referral, or say they know someone that needs travel training or want this program. The first steps we will give that teacher of the student a referral form, which is basically their address and their contact information, and then a pupil profile. And this is a skill sheet that the teacher will have to rate the student on some of the different areas, such as knowledge of the environment, language and communication, cognitive skills, mobility skills, personal responsibility skills. After we've got that interest, after we've got that pupil profile and it's rated a score that we feel we can go forward, we're going to send to the parent an interest letter. We want to make sure the parent is interested before we meet the child or the student and then do an assessment. Once the parent says yes, no, or if they need more information, we'll call them. But once they say yes, we will start the assessment. And that the first step we're going to ask the student is to write and to verbally tell us where they live or their school information. And we're going to ask them some personal responsibility questions like, do they carry an ID card? And what their experience is on public transportation, their safety awareness. Do they cross the streets in their neighborhood? Do they follow the rules? Do they talk to strangers? Do they cross with the lights? And we kind of give them a little assessment on their money and do they use money and they do know how much it costs to get on public transportation. We test their phone skills, make sure they can call their home, and we're going to check for their matching and sequencing because unbeknown to many people, you do not have to be able to read to travel independently. A lot of the parents or educators feel, oh, this student doesn't read, so I don't think he or she can travel. But it's on the contrary. As long as they're able to match and sequence, those are the minimum skills that they would need to enter the program. And then finally, we'll check on some map skills, their mobility skills in the building, and then we'll write some notes and then we'll contact the parent with the recommendation whether we feel they're ready for independent travel and can go on our wait list, or maybe the school needs to work on some areas prior for them getting on our wait list. So again, the pre-travel activities, these are the things that we're going to do once they're on our wait list. You know, we're going to practice with them and get them ready so that they can enter the program and be ready to complete successfully. So prior to them entering the program, we're going to take them outside in the school neighborhood and practice street crossings. And again, with the strict rules of stopping at the corner, looking for cars, and crossing with the lights. Use of the identification card. Sometimes we're going to make an ID card and practice using it and who they could show it to. I'm going to show you what our travel training identification card looks like in a few minutes. We practice stranger safety. Again, these skills we role play in the classroom. And for those like Ms. Husbands, whose child participated in our Journey to Independence program, which was on the Saturdays, this is very important stuff that they need to know prior to getting out into the real world. We practice reading buses and subway maps, telephone usage again to making sure that they know how to navigate the phone system in the schools and the message system and know how to call home and who to call. And if they don't know the numbers by heart, do they have it programmed in their phone or somewhere on their person on their identification? We practice problem solving things like what if school doors are closed? What if areas are the obstructions? And just see how they practice the problem solving issues. So once we've kind of worked through some pre-travel skills and we feel they're competent and they're ready to go and their name has come up on the wait list, first thing to do prior to putting them in the program, we're going to contact you, the parent. We're going to make sure that you're ready to start and explain the parameters of the program. We're going to introduce the student and the parent to the travel trainer. The parent will speak to the travel trainer so they know who's going to be coming to their home and what time and everything that's going to be required from the parent. Prior to travel training the student, we're going to do an environmental analysis of the route of the student to and from the school. All right, so we're going to do a safe route to the school and a safe route to home and follow that route to see how what we feel is the safest route socially and street crossing wise to make sure that it's safe for the student to get there. Okay, so it's never about the fastest route. It's always about the safest route. Sometimes we'll go maybe a 2 or 3 block walk out of the direction of the bus stop just to make sure we get the safest street crossings in there. Okay. Every student is then given a travel training identification card and cue cards. And I'm going to show you what the identification card looks like. This is what it is. It is a yellow for the international color of caution. And you'll see on the top here, it has the student's name and address and their phone numbers. Again, students don't have to have this information memorized. It's great if they do, but as long as they can produce it when upon need and upon request, this is fine. So we give them this ID card and it will have some directions here. Please help me, I'm lost, or call the police, and everyone is student specific. Then on the ID card in the bottom is the route. So for the samples you see here, the student is taking buses. The B3 in the Bergen Beach direction is going to exit at Nostrand Avenue. Then the B47 heading in the Bed-Stuy direction, going to exit at Flushing Avenue. And then we'll have the route to home. It's highlighted green to distinguish the two. And again, B47 in the Kings Plaza direction, exiting in Flushing and Bedford. And the second bus with the B3 heading in the Bensonhurst direction to Nostrand Avenue. So what we do with this ID card is practicing using it every day. Even if the student knows the route and they know where they're boarding and exiting, we have them practicing using, showing this to the bus driver to get them used to talking to a bus driver or to a safe stranger. A bus driver is someone they don't know, but it is a community worker, somebody they can show and get this ID card to and get information from. And you'll see what the purpose of that is in a minute. Now, this would be the second side of the ID card. On the other side, we'll have here the school information. I can tell you from years of experience, when we do assessments on student, one of the questions we ask them to tell us or to write is the school address. And a high percentage, probably 75% of students or more, unfortunately do not know their school address. Some of them don't even know the proper names of the school. They'll know an acronym or something, or they'll get it close. That could be such a dangerous endeavor if they were to get separated from their school somehow and couldn't get help because they didn't know the address. So whether they can say it verbally, they should have it somewhere on them where they could retrieve that information. So again, we have the school address and the school's phone numbers. And we have some specific directions to let somebody know if they're showing this to a police officer or a train conductor or a bus driver, help me, I'm lost. And then we'll have some, then on the back of the ID card is an alternate route. And we'll get into what that is. But this student also can take the trains to school. And it's again the D train heading the Norwood direction, getting off of Broadway Lafayette. The M train heading to Middle Village, getting off of Flushing Avenue. And the alternate route home is the J heading the Broad Street direction to Canal Street and the N to Coney Island to 86th Street. So this is just a sample. Can everyone here see this little black and white sign that is on this ID card? Can anyone tell me what that is? And why would we put that on there? Any of the district council members know what this little black and white sign could possibly signify?
I think I know.
Okay, is that Ms. Husbands? You should know.
That's where on the train, that's where the conductor.
The conductor's board. This is a little reminder for our students to make sure they ride the conductor's car. In every train station, usually in the middle of the platform, there's a black and white stripe sign that hangs over the platform. And that lets the train operators know that is where the conductor is going to stop the car and open his doors. The conductor is there to answer questions and obviously open and close to shut the doors. This is the car our students are required to travel in. It is the safest place on the train. It's usually in the middle, like I said. But what's great about it is they're in the car where the conductor is present. So if they have any questions, any problems, they don't have to exit the train and to look for the conductor. The conductor's in that car. If our students arrive at a train station or platform and the train is already in the station, they're not going to get on the car. They're going to walk to the middle and get on that conductor's car. And even if the train leaves, it doesn't matter. They have to ride that conductor's car. That is a 100% rule they must follow, or they're not going to be successful. It is the safest place on the train to travel. If you've never seen it, maybe look for it. If you ever take public transportation, the train, the subway specifically, again, I recommend it. It's the safest place. There are a lot of safety features that we teach the students that most pedestrians or most commuters don't know about. And this is just one of them. So again, we put it on the ID card as a little constant reminder that the students must ride that train car prior, every day in order to be safe. All right, so the one-to-one travel training program, what do the students learn when they're in the program? They're first going to practice, again, like as I reiterated, safe street crossings. That is the most difficult thing for the students to accomplish. It could be the most dangerous. If they follow the rules, that will decrease the risk that they will be encountering. And again, that starts with, first thing when you get to the corner, even if the light says walk, is to stop. You look left, you look right, you look around the corner. Turning cars are the most dangerous cars in the intersection, the ones that come from behind you. So we have strategies to avoid turning cars, to cross in certain directions that will keep turning cars in front of us so we can see them and not possibly behind us. We call that a points of conflict. So we're looking for intersections where there are the least amount of points of conflict, cars that can come into contact with us while we have the right of way. This is all a part of our environmental analysis. We try to pick the least busiest intersections with clear crosswalks. Those are the ones that you should be choosing with your children or your students when you're traveling. All right. Street crossings are very, very important. We will teach the student the main route navigation. That is the route we believe is the safest, and we'll practice that route with them to and from the school. We always, if possible, if there is, show them an alternate route. And we like to show them on an alternate mode, such as the subway, if they're on the bus or if they're on the subway primarily, we like to show them on the bus so that they have an option in case one of those modes are not working that day for whatever reason. But again, not all students have an alternate route because depending on where they live and where they're going. We practice lost work. So that is a major fear of parents and the teachers of the students. What would they do if they get lost? What would happen if they fell asleep on the bus? What would happen if the train went express or the bus had a detour? We practice these things. What do you do if you're at a bus stop and there's multiple buses that a student can get on and they need only one of those buses? We practice putting them on those wrong buses and they have to perform, showing that ID card and following the directions given to them from the transit worker. We practice this multiple times in multiple directions until we feel confident the student knows what to do. So that is why from the beginning of the training, we start showing that ID card to the bus drivers and train conductors so that they feel comfortable doing it when they're in the stressful situation of being lost. You don't want that to be the first time they have to show it and now they're nervous. So we get them ready so that when we're practicing putting them in these lost situations, they can get the help and hopefully follow the directions independently.
Mr. Abraham, I'm gonna have to pause you because our
Sure.
Spanish interpreter has his hand up. So Spanish interpreter Benito, can you unmute yourself? We just want to make sure what's going on.
No problem. Does anyone have any questions?
Was my mistake.
Okay, no problem. Can we just take a pause since this is a long presentation? If interpretation can ask in their rooms, the Spanish line and the Mandarin line, if there's any questions or just any additional clarity, since there is a lot of information being stated here. Spanish interpreters, can you ask your rooms, please?
And I see Ms. Sachs, you have your hand up, and Ms. Garcia. So once we hear back from the interpreters, we'll take your questions.
Thank you. I already asked in the Spanish line and I think there's no questions. Thank you.
Can we ask the Mandarin interpretation line, please?
There is no question at this time from Mandarin line.
Thank you.
Ms. Sachs, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question and a statement. First, I want to say hello to Mr. David.
Hello, Ms. Sachs. Long time no hear.
Long time. And it's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Mr. David is a wonderful, wonderful man whom I've known, spoken with a long time. So I
Many
just want
times. She's never missed a presentation. She's a great supporter of the program. And I'm glad that you're here. So it was nice to hear from you.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
And you dealt with this situation. If a student is not going to be traveling on a bus or a train, but they are eligible to get environmental training, am I correct? Whether it's in the building or whether it's in the community?
Oh, so yes, I will. We do work with students in the school when possible. very difficult now. We're very extremely short-staffed, but when we're in the normal conditions, we do have groups, so we do mobility training in school. And again, students on our wait list, we do practice and we do classroom lessons with groups in the school, community training, school mobility training. Um, so we do that. And again, there are some students that don't need public transportation for their route, that maybe are walkers to school, and we have done that. We like to show them the bus, so in case one day they need the bus, they can know the skills that they would need to be successful doing that. But we do other things. Yeah, I was going to mention that coming up about as soon as the travel training stuff is over, kind of some of the stuff that you can do and what we do with the students in the schools, and what you can do at home to get them ready for independent travel. And again, independent travel, just to reiterate since we're on the topic, is not for every student, but we do have strategies that can just make them more independent in whatever their life endeavors are. You know, we worked with a student one time many years ago, and the mom, she knew that her child wasn't going to be an independent traveler, but we helped her just being able to have the student walk with her in the mall, you know, walk because he was not working in a straight line and he wasn't focused on um, the, uh, the static and dynamic environments he was encountering. So we do more than just the independent travel as well as a part of our program. But again, the independent travel is the main thing.
Is there any written curriculum or any written suggestions that could be given to the school in the interim until there are more?
Yes, I have a handout for everyone here today and some things. I'm gonna kind of go over that in a few minutes about some of the skills. We call them the 9 essential skills, things that you can do. I'm gonna touch on that as soon as I just finish this about the one-to-one travel training and the things that you could do at home, or what teachers can do in schools, and the things that you have to think about, the things that you need that we all need to accomplish independent travel. Um, so.
I thank you, David. Once
Yes.
again, it's really good to see you.
Great to see you. All right, so let me continue, and I'm going to get to those kind of some of those aspects right now. So again, appropriate social skills, again, is handling strangers, and again, those social things like I mentioned before, just not cutting the line, minding your personal space, making sure students are appropriate with their book bags on the bus, they're not knocking people, you know, staring at people, those type of things. We kind of have strategies to work with students who we feel are over friendly. We will do what we call an approach on the student. That's where we have a travel trainer who they do not know. We'll do a stranger test on them to see if they will go off with someone or give information to someone they don't know. Because again, all of our children and students tell us, oh, we don't talk to strangers. But when they get out there, they do exactly that. They do talk to strangers and give out information. And sometimes they have to practice it and role play it and kind of experience it before they can really understand the concept of really not giving out your personal information because we don't know these people. So we do that upon request of if we feel the student is just too friendly. Again, we practice the phone. We practice different problems, different exits and entrances to see how they handle things that come up. And as the student Benny said in the video, there is a test. There is an observation process that after the 2 to 3 week program, to test the students to see if they're following the rules, we give them a test where we go to their home and we tell them, okay, you're done, you completed, you're ready to go by yourself, go to school and I'll meet you there. But what the student doesn't know is that we have another teacher who they don't know following them to and from the school, so we can tell the parents in the school when they're by themselves and not under the eye of their travel trainer, they're following the rules, doing everything safe. And if they don't, then they would either consequence could be more training or go back on the school bus, either temporary or full time at that point. So the students have to learn. And again, the observation process is so important because a lot of the students, you know, they do the right thing in front of you, but when you're not watching, they do some other stuff. And we like to know what they're doing, or things just happen, and we got to see how they can handle it themselves. So the observation of our program is critical. Yes. Hello? I can't hear you. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Anyone?
Does anyone else hear static?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Could you just repeat what you said, Mr. Abraham? There was a lot of static.
Mr. Abrams, you're muted.
We can't hear you. Mr. Abrahams, unmute yourself, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, I don't know how that happened because I was in the PowerPoint. Let me go back to it now. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. So the observation process is the last stage of our training. When we go to the student's home, we've trained them for 2 to 3 weeks, and now we're telling them you're ready to go by themselves, and we'll meet you at the school. But what they don't know is they're being observed by another travel trainer, teacher, or paraprofessional that is going to be following them at a close distance to see how they travel when they think they're by themselves. Do they follow the rules? Are they appropriate with the social skills? Are they crossing the street safely? Do they know their route? If something unexpected comes up, can they problem solve? We do this for 2 to 3 times with different personnel each day, so we can get a full scope of interrelated reliability from 4 to 5 people that are going to kind of come together and make a recommendation for the parent and the student and the school, so we can come together and say we recommend the student, or at times we'll say we don't recommend them, or they need more training, or we just feel it's not safe for them. So it is a pass-fail kind of course for the students. All right, so who benefits from travel training? The individual. They get access to health, medical care, economic self-sufficiency, equal opportunity, housing and employment, freedom and independence, social recreation activities, and again, just spontaneous travel. They know where to go. They can kind of, hopefully,
Sorry to say.
Maybe see if he can check his connection.
Can you check the headphone to make sure?
Is that better?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the family gets benefits, decreased dependence on others for rides, decreased transportation costs, increased income that could be spent on other things, and the quality of life. I actually did an assessment on a student one time, and he was telling me that he takes an Uber every day. And I was like, isn't that expensive? He was like, yeah, it is expensive. I was like, do you think there's other things you could do with this money if you can learn to travel on public transportation? This student loved video games. I was like, imagine the amount of video games you could buy. He was like, wow, I never thought of that. So, and the students, there's different motivations for each one. But for the family, thinking about, just freedom from themselves and having to take their children everywhere that possibly they can go for themselves. So again, we encourage parents to start letting their children go to the corner store or somewhere that they may need to go, and keep an eye on them to give them these little steps in independence. So now when they're learning to travel to and from their school, that it's not such a new experience for them. So we're going to talk now about the essential skills, the 9 essential skills. This is kind of a pseudo curriculum for us, our framework that the students have to have and mastered in order to be independent travelers. Everyone who travels uses these 9 essential skills, and here they go. They are the skills we use in everyday life, the skills needed to be safe and independent, the skills needed to be an independent traveler. Were there any questions, first of all, about the travel training program before I get into these skills?
There's a question from Andrea Carter, what age can the student start the travel training program?
14 to 21. We do work with secondary age students, secondary school students. You know, we sometimes get requests from junior high, but the students in junior high, then they need retraining because now they go to a different school. So we just wait for them to get in their secondary setting, and hopefully we get them from the age of 17 to 18. A lot of parents sometimes or schools want to wait till their students are 21, and it's just a lot of learned helplessness at that point. So the students who start earlier are usually more successful than the ones that come later, that get the program at a later time. So you want to refer early and give them, this way, if they're not successful the first time, they have a chance to get a second opportunity.
Okay, and Ms. Garcia, you had your hand up earlier. Do you still have a question?
你现在这个问题还存在吗？
Hi. Yes and no. It's about that black and white code. That sign to get into the car with the conductor.
Yes.
I usually the one traveling with my child. Right now she's 11, but I'm always like, she have a very good sense of directions and orientation, but we try to avoid crowded areas. So we always walk in the platform to the extremes of the train, or all the way to the front or all the way to the back. But I never thought about that. I know maybe it's the safer place with the conductor, but that is very crowded area. So I don't know how that could be managed.
Yes, so I could see that being an issue. Depending on the train station, sometimes you could use the staircase in the train station that leads. So we try to find those. If it's a staircase, if it's a station with the only two entrances in the beginning and the end, that is difficult. You know, it's just, if there is a problem, if you get lost, you want to have that conductor there. So you have to weigh the crowdedness with the safety. If it's a social issue, that you have protection there from a conductor. You know, if you get lost, you know, we don't want them now when they're lost on the train to have to try to exit that train and navigate 3 or 4 cars to go find the conductor. By that time, the car can close and now the train is gone. We want that conductor right there in that car. So we got to talk to them. We just come out the door right there and talk to them. Sometimes they're accessible depending on the train by knocking on the glass, depending on the subway. But for us, it is just the safest place. You know, if there is an issue with the crowded stations, I mean, you could try an alternate station, a different train station. Learning how to navigate dynamic static environments is something we can teach the students and navigate. So maybe you wait for one train to pass, everyone get on, and then now you go to the conductor's car when the station is empty, prior to everyone getting on the train or exiting, letting them exit the train before you head to that conductor's board. It is just definitely the safest place on the train to travel, and that's where we teach our students. So I would try it, and see if you just have that extra self-security of a person. If there's a problem, that you could get help from immediately. It's just a requirement of our program. But you would have to try it again. These are our safety rules. There may be an exception to that if your child can't make it through the train station. They have to take the first car. I guess you would have to take that risk in riding that car. But for our program, that's where we teach our students to travel. We just found it to be the safest place.
Okay, thank you. It will be something that I will take
into
consideration now when I'm traveling, because she can learn, but I will start to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Mr. Abrahams, we have another comment question.
Yes. go ahead.
Jessica Fitzpatrick. She says, this is great. Thank you for this information. Just wondering, are students trained individually, or can we recommend 2 students from one class and the process can begin at the same time?
No, students are in the travel training program. Students are one-to-one. You know, we have to make sure that they can do this individually. If they're traveling, if they were, you know, sometimes we'll train twins and, you know, we do them separately. You know, we want to make sure that if they get separated or one student's not going to school that day, that they know how to travel independently themselves without any help from anyone, you know? So it is one-to-one. Now, and we do classroom lessons, we do group lessons, but it's not the one-to-one travel training program. We go to schools and work with, you know, take students on trips and do things where they learn the skills. But the one-to-one travel training where they're learning to travel to home or school or to a workplace, a DOE approved workplace, it is always one-to-one.
Are there any other questions?
Yes,
Right now?
I do have a couple of questions. I'm curious in what percentage of our kids are actually successful with the program. And the curiosity is, how do you accomplish training them in the 2 to 3 weeks to get back and forth to school and to get back and forth to home? I find that to be completely amazing, and I would love to hear more about it, especially after they go through that period, what that test looks like, to know that they have the readiness to do the training. I mean,
Sure.
to do the traveling alone.
Sure. So again, we have a 90% success rate. So again, not all the students are successful because again, we have strict rules. We put students in program who are, you know, you can never tell. Again, we have students who are cognitively, quote unquote, high, very intelligent, have a lot of experience, but they don't follow the rules. And then we have students who, to the naked eye, people say, oh, this person can't do it. They're nonverbal. They don't read. They never say anything, you know. Maybe have a disability that doesn't, that may impede their ability to travel, or so people think, but yet these students follow the rules and they're great travelers. So with that being said, again, our philosophy is we believe you can do it. We're going to teach you like you can do it. You're going to have to show us through your behaviors and actions that you can't do it. So with that, sometimes there are some students who just don't follow the rules, that not understanding the concepts. And again, the reasons why most of them are usually unsuccessful is because of unsafe street crossings and inappropriate social skills. They're talking to strangers, they're staring, and those are things that just take long to master. So we'll pull them out of programs. So the things I'm going to cover now, the essential skills, is kind of like our curriculum. And I'm going to show you the 9 things that they have to accomplish that we all have and that we teach to. So it's not just the naked eye, we just have a good idea. We have these essential skills that we have activities for, that we make sure that they're ready to go. And why we get them done in 2 to 3 weeks is because we prepare them ahead of time. We practice the street crossings, we do problem solving, we practice the phone work, we practice role playing, stranger dangers. We kind of do the things and get them ready. We go over maps, we go over the computer, the Google Maps, the bus maps, the train maps, get the students ready so that when they get in the program, it's intensive. Every day they're working on these skills. It's to school and to home. And again, this average is 2 to 3 weeks. And again, if they're not learning or something's not safe, we pull them out of program and work on those issues outside of the program while they're in the training to get them ready so that we can give another student an opportunity to, you know, to achieve independent travel who are ready. So, you know, and again, the observation process is the test. That's when they have to go to school and follow the rules. If they don't follow the rules, the travel person that's following them will stop them, intervene, and escort them to school from that point if they're doing something dangerous. That's we stop.
Okay.
You know, we have a picture of them. We meet up ahead of time. We know all about the student beforehand. We know where they're going. We have all the information. We're like 2 to 3 feet behind them, arm's distance. So if we're not across the street, down the block, driving in a car. We're right behind them. So if they're going to cross against the light, we're grabbing them. Oh, you know, you're not paying attention, you know, and then we'll go from there, you know.
The pre-training, how long is that by chance?
So it depends on the school, the students, and the wait list. You know, sometimes some kids are on our wait list a year or 2. We try to get to them within the year, but you know, it depends on what the student needs. If they're ready to go, it won't be that long. If they're, you know, if they need a lot of work on pre-travel, it's all student specific.
Thank you so very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Any other questions, Ms. Husbands?
I see Miss Joanne Jones.
Okay.
Question?
Yes, hi. Yes, I have a question. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So just to piggyback off of what Councilmember Angel was stating and what you stated, so there is a sign-up process to get into this program. So I'm concerned, is it specific to the school? I don't know if this was already covered.
Yeah, well,
Is it-
we have a referral process. We're in most of the D75 secondary schools. We do get referrals from community school students who are in special education as well. Again, anyone can refer a student, from the principal to the student themselves can come and knock on our door, send us an email, make a phone call. I want my child to be referred to travel training. And then we'll start the process with the interest letter, having the teacher fill out a form and going meeting, talking to the parent. But yeah, so we're, all you have to do is mention it. Most of the schools know our program. And once you just kind of mention it, we'll kind of get it, we'll start the process.
So it's an open enrollment, sir?
Basically, yes. But
Okay.
but you have to be deemed eligible through the pupil profile and our assessment, through the teacher's rating, recommendation, and then what we assess. And then we'll deem you eligible. If we don't feel you're eligible, we'll let the school know what they need to work on. So the student should be eligible in the future.
And I don't know if I missed this again. Where is this assessment at? And how do I obtain
We do it at the school. So you just tell the school where your child is, and hey, I want to refer them from the travel training school program. We have liaisons in all the D75 schools, just about the secondary schools, and they know to contact the travel training teacher at that school, and then we'd start the process from there. We just start.
Now, do you supply, I mean, would you supply the Metro cards to and from?
Yes, we do. We give
Okay.
students an ID card, cue cards that kind of go over exactly what they need to do, and we give them Metro cards. Yes, from the super.
Okay, so my next step is to contact my son's parent coordinator or the transportation coordinator to get him enrolled.
Transition coordinator, the parent coordinators usually know who we are and where to locate or who's the responsible for teaching and working with that school, and then they could initiate the referral.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. This is amazing. I mean,
yeah, we
2
got
to
more
3
stuff.
weeks, my son will be able to travel from East 14th Street to 145th Street in Harlem. I'm going to
We do it all
record
the time.
this.
I didn't mention this before, but like I said, we've been around since 1970. We've traveled trained about 15,000 students over these 50 years.
That is some amazing data. Keep up the strong work. Thank you.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will. So let me just talk to you guys about the essential skills that your children.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
Mr. Abraham.
yes, go ahead,
Would
go
you
ahead.
need to check with the Spanish line and the Mandarin line to see if
I'm
they have
sorry.
any questions?
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mandarin interpreter, any questions?
中文的翻译专线有没有任何问题？如果有问题，可以帮你们问这个问题。中文家长。There are no questions on the Chinese line. Thank you.
There are no
Thank
questions in the Spanish line either. Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Abraham. Thank
All
you.
right. So we've identified 9 skills that everyone needs to travel independently and that we can teach our students to do at home and while they're in the travel training program. They are awareness of the environment, negotiating dynamic and static environments, problem solving, appropriate social behavior, recognizing and avoiding dangers and obstacles, initiating, recognizing need for and requesting assistance, decision making, and attention to task. These are the 9 skills things that we do. If you've ever gone somewhere that you've never been before, you have to accomplish all these goals to get there. And this is what the diagram looks like. And I'm going to forward this to Ms. Husband so that everyone will have a copy of them and a few other of our brochures and informational documents. All right. So I have a video later. We'll see if we want to see what a training will look like. But let's just say, for example, in travel training. Excuse me a second. So in travel training, the essential skills such as awareness in the environment. That's things like identifying street signs or landmarks, safety signs, scanning for traffic when crossing, avoiding pedestrians while walking on the sidewalk, negotiating static and dynamic environments. Again, navigating a crowded subway or bus, crossing crowded streets, maybe while holding an umbrella. Can we stay to the right? Moving through environments that require personal space and judgment. And for like an example, staying in a crosswalk. Some of our students will walk outside of the crosswalk, so those are things that we practice. Problem solving. What do you do if your bus gets rerouted, or if a student or the entrance is closed, or the subway is being blocked due to construction? We teach the students to show their ID card to community helpers or transit workers to kind of resolve those issues. Appropriate social behavior, like I said before, maintaining personal space, not talking to strangers, appropriate interactions with police officers and community workers, proper etiquette, waiting in line, holding their book bag, etc. Recognizing and avoiding dangers, responding to car sounds, sirens, truck horns, and unexpected changes in the environment, street closures, things of that nature. You'll be surprised on travel training, you've used the bus stop every day and all of a sudden you get there, it's closed. What do? The students have to figure it out. We're there to help them, but they have to use their common sense and their street smarts to kind of locate where's the bus stop prior or after the one they normally get on. And we'll be there with them to help them make sure they make the right decisions. Initiating, responding to announcements on the bus and train when they say, oh, this train is going express, like that parent I mentioned when her child was on the bus. Ringing the bell when they get to their stop. We'll locate, we'd like the students pick landmarks before their stop. Oh, when I see this, I know I have to ring the bell. The students are the ones who choose those things. We take pictures, we use video to help the students learn. That's another strategy we use to help them learn. It's not about just saying, what their landmark are. We take a picture, we create a picture book for them and they can study it and take it home and know we'll have a cue card for that. When they see McDonald's, they ring the bell and we'll have a picture of it and with the word ring the bell or a picture of ringing the bell. And so we have a lot of strategies dealing with the different disabilities of how to achieve this. And again, attention, requesting a need for assistance, knowing who to ask for when traveling, responding to the following directions and follow-up questions. So when we practice law with the students, they have to get help from the bus drivers or conductors. We don't just let them try to figure it out on their own. They have to get help, show their ID card, and follow the directions. And then we have decision-making, again, following signage in the subway, at a corner, knowing when to cross, boarding, exiting the bus, and things of that nature. And then finally, attention to task is recognizing their own bus and train, waiting for the light to turn in their favor, stopping at the corner, every corner. Every student that completes travel training must demonstrate mastery of these skills. The skills are not independent of each other and are not necessarily dependent upon most academic skills. You don't need to be able to read, write, add, speak, hear, or walk to travel independently. We've trained students, again, with all disabilities except for the blind. I'm going to kind of just talk about some of the things you could do at home and the categories of the essential skills to help foster independence. Because again, sometimes parents are not thinking. Are you a parent that still puts on your children's coat every day? Do you have to wake them up in the morning? There are things that your children should be doing independently that will foster independence and make them probably have a better chance at succeeding. If you do everything for your children or the teacher doing everything for the students, it's just learned helplessness. They're not going to be independent and initiate. Sometimes on our street crossings, we're waiting 10, 15, 20 minutes for a student to make the decision to cross the street. We'll wait cycles of light cycles, and if they're not comfortable, we'll make them go over and over and wait until they can make that decision. So for awareness of the environment, just things you could do at home is like identify the parts and functions of the rooms in the house, draw a picture, map of the rooms, match the number of your school bus. Riding the school bus is actually a preliminary skill. Some parents, put their children in cab or drive them. If they have the school bus that's attainable to them, that's a step forward of independence. So, they should try and do it. Recognizing the number of the school bus, pointing out landmarks near the home when you're traveling. Ask them, what is that? When you see this, what should we do? Matching identifying the streets in their home. We assess students all the time, and they, most will know their address, but if I ask them, what is the major cross street near their home, or name some other streets near their home, or what is the street that's up the block, they don't know sometimes. Negotiating static environments, again, when in the supermarket, have them, doing things, going up and down the aisles, making the selections, stopping at the corners. We stand behind our students when they're crossing the street. You shouldn't be standing next to them. You should never be standing in front of them. You shouldn't be holding their hand. You should stand behind them and let them make the decision to cross when the light turns. Show them where they have to look, again, left, right, and around the corner. And if they make mistakes, they come back, do it again. You didn't look. But you shouldn't be blocking their view. You don't have to hold their hand. You have to just stand behind them, be at an arm's distance. In case they make a mistake, you can pull them back. Identify the walk, don't walk signs on the street. Tell me when it's safe to cross. Recognizing if you have a choice of a street that has a crosswalk and one that doesn't, use the one with the crosswalk. Don't teach your children or your students to cross in the middle of the block. Even though your car is right there, the safe thing is to go to the corner, cross the street where the drivers are expecting you, and come back down the other block. That's the safe thing to do. If you cross in the middle of the block, that's what you're teaching your children to do, and they may do it, and that's very dangerous. And always look both ways around the corner for traffic. Recognizing and avoiding dangers. Listen, identify different traffic sounds. Fire engine, car horns, truck. Listen, teach them about the sound of the beep when the truck is backing up, so they know somebody may not see you right now, that truck is backing up, or a car. Recognizing and avoiding puddles, potholes, construction, making sure that, what do you do when you see a construction sign? This big puddle, or this snow mound is there. What should you do? Don't tell them what to do. Ask them what they should do and how they should navigate these areas. Recognizing need for requesting assistance. If you take a trip on public transportation, parents and students and teachers, teach them to use the public transportation. Students would rather go on public transportation than take a school bus on a trip. Maybe you can't go both ways on the public transportation. Take a cab, or maybe you can go one way or half the way. Any time you can take your children or your students on public transportation, it's a learning experience. They love to prepare for it. You can look ahead, you can Google map it, see everywhere you need to go. When you get here, ring the bell. We're going to walk this way. And again, do that environmental analysis. Pick the route that is the safest. Appropriate social behavior, waiting for the school bus alone while being observed. Like the school buses come, do you take your children to the school bus and hold their hand and walk them to the front door, or can they go to the bus on their own? Can you, is it down the block? Can you watch them from a distance? These little steps will start fostering independence. When you're in the school, exit the school bus, and when they exit the school bus, can they come to the door and ring the bell, or do you have to do everything, open the door, run to the bus, and bring them in by their hand? These little steps can start fostering independence. Recognizing personal space in others, you have to teach them that, appropriate behavior, and identifying themselves appropriately, whether it's verbally or pointing to their ID card. Please have your children have an ID card. So many students, we do assessments and they don't have one. If they were to get separated, they're nonverbal, can they point to their ID card and get help from someone? That should be a minimal request, skill that they should have. And again, request assistance and identify community workers. Show them the police officers. Show them the safe havens in your neighborhood. If something were to happen, here's a police department. Here's a hospital. Here's a library you can go into. These are places that are safe to you to go if there's a problem. The difference between friends and strangers. Initiating, walking to the door independently to wait for the school bus, using the intercom if you're living in an apartment building, carrying money and paying for items on a grocery, walking to the corner alone. These are all things that are going to foster initiating. Decision-making, getting their own coat, knowing what to wear for the different types of weather, exiting the school bus and entering the apartment, carrying the groceries, emptying the garbage independently, giving them household chores, delivering the message to a neighbor, and again, making that purchase in the neighborhood store. And if you're on public, let them swipe their own Metro card or dip it in the bus. Attention to task, carrying again ID card when they leave in the house. So everywhere they go, they should have one. If you have a state ID, make a photocopy of it and give them and laminate it and let them carry that one and keep the main one at home in case if you're worried about them losing it. Checking sure they have everything that they need, their ID card, their money, check with them. What do you have? What do you need today? What is the weather again? What do you need to wear? Identifying, recognizing their home address, have the practice writing or making an ID card, writing it over and over. their home address, their school address, their phone numbers. Again, making selections in the store. And the community awareness, when you go out, what should you carry when you travel? Again, just dressing for the weather. Always go over the information on the ID card, who they can show it to, practice it. You know, if you see a police officer, say, hey, I'm looking for this place. Is this where we are? I live here. Can you show me the direction? Even though that you may know where it is, it's just practice getting them comfortable with talking to the community workers. And so that if they ever need to do it, if they're lost, they have those skills. And again, like I said, take a trip on public transportation. Don't assume. Introduce travel-related skills and behaviors at a young age. Let them make mistakes and let them correct those mistakes, and emphasize safety. Never give up. Keep trying. Independent travel mobility is worth the effort. I'm going to end the PowerPoint and take any other questions that you have now. Hopefully there's a few more, and I'll be happy to answer them. Oops.
Yes, there are a few questions, and thank you, Mr. Abrahams, for everything. We appreciate you. A few people have said how great this presentation is, and they're really thankful for it. I'm just going through the chat right now.
Sure.
This presentation will be available on the YouTube page, and we will link it in the chat for you. Mr. Abraham, would you be able to share the PowerPoint?
Yes, I have documents. I will share the PowerPoint with Ms. Husbands, definitely. And I have some documents that I will be sharing with you guys, explaining the 9 essential skills, our brochure, some frequently asked questions about travel training. And again, I will, I should have left my email up. I can put it back, or let me put it back just so you can see it. And people can, they want to email me, contact me, feel free to do so. Oh, did I close it out? Let's see. I think I have it here, do I? Pull up. I think I closed the PowerPoint. I'm gonna open it up 1 second. Oh, here it is. Here's my contact information, my email. If you want to contact me, have any other further questions, that's our district office information. We have an office manager that is there, and that's my email address if you want to email me. Any other questions, Ms. Husbands? Everybody got it?
I think you answered this question earlier regarding the Saturday program.
Okay.
There's a question regarding if you still have the Saturday program,
the plan for the Saturday program is, I believe, in the spring. They're going to reinitiate it in some of the boroughs. I think the next they said was possibly Queens and Staten Island. What they haven't done, we've done Bronx, Brooklyn, and Manhattan. I think Queens and Staten Island is going to get their chance. But again, people from across the 5 boroughs can come to it, but I think those are the locations where they're going to do that. And the Saturday program is called Journey to Independence. And it is a pre-travel program. It is not to teach your children how to travel, but we'll practice the skills. Parents are invited to kind of see, we get good response. Ms. Husbands participated, and maybe kind of breaking some bad habits of parents, things that they're doing, and also seeing what their children need and maybe need to work on prior to getting into the program. Sometimes, they're like, they can see like their child is ready or maybe not ready, and they need to work on some things behind the scenes to get them ready for program, for the independent travel part.
Okay, and Latif Ferguson asked, where did you go? I saw the question. They wanted to clarify the age and how would you get the application?
Yes, so it's again 14 to 21 is when we start the travel training program for the students, and it's basically to just initiate with a phone call or email, contact the teacher at your school, usually the transition coordinator or the parent coordinator will have access. Or just not everybody knows us, and we're not in all the schools because we are a small program. But again, just the email. If you search an email travel training, you'll get one of our emails, and just request it and we'll come by and we'll initiate the process and we'll hopefully get to meet your children and we'll do an assessment and we'll get the school to fill out the pupil profile to kind of let us know if they feel this, if the student is ready.
Okay, and thank you. And from Ms. Garcia, I think you spoke earlier regarding this is available in District 75, special education, and some community schools, but is it
Yes.
also available in charter schools?
No, we are not available for charter schools. We're, only can work with schools in the NYCDOE for liability insurance purposes, So that's, unfortunately, I can give some reference to some other agencies that could work with charter schools, such as YAI, AHRC, and the transit, New York City Transit had a travel training program. I'm not sure if they're really up and running right now. So there are some other options for those entities, like the charter schools.
Okay, thank you. Veronica asks, how can we get the PowerPoint and pamphlets? Will you be sharing?
I will be sharing, yes.
Sorry.
Yeah, I will send that to you, Ms. Husband. So probably this afternoon, I will send that to you as soon as we finish.
Okay, and Ms. Veronica, the presentation will be available again on YouTube, our outreach page. The majority of our presentations are available for view after. Anyone has a question? Any other questions?
Can I ask a question? Mr. Abraham, you
Hi.
mentioned that, how you doing? You mentioned that you guys are doing this training for D75 and special ed and community schools. So when you speak of special ed, like, does it have to be all students with an IEP and
Yes.
just IEP? Can they have a
Yes.
504 and just be a student with disability?
Good question. I would have to follow, usually all of our community school referrals or students with IEP, I would have to double check if we're permitted to work with those who or do not. So I don't think I've ever had one of those prior. So I would have to find out about that to confirm though. But but most of the students we do work with are D75. Again, some community schools do find our contact and we do work with them as well. But again, just the 14 to 20, when those students usually graduated 18. So we try to help them out as much as best we can. But with the pandemic, we were we lost a lot of staff. We're in the process of hopefully hiring soon and getting back to our normal numbers. So we are very, probably about half the staff that we normally have, unfortunately, at this point, just because of the staff we lost during the whole redeployment and the pandemic. So we're trying to build it up slowly but surely to get back to our normal numbers.
So I have two questions since you mentioned that. So the first one, before I get to that one, is you guys did years ago at 188, I believe, an event or something on a Saturday that you guys brought a MTA bus to the school.
Yeah.
Are
Well, those
you
are called bus demonstrations. We still do those. That is usually a part of the Saturday programs that we have going on sometimes. We didn't get to do it last spring because the pandemic was still going on and things where we weren't back yet travel training, so we didn't bring the bus. But that is usually a part of our Saturday program, and we do that. We bring a city bus to the schools, and we like to prepare the students ahead of time. We give them a lesson about what they're going to be learning, and then what happens is they practice getting on a city bus. They get a trip. They practice all the safety features of the bus. They meet a bus driver. They take a trip in the neighborhood. They practice exiting the bus, listening to the announcements, learning the safety rules on the bus. And students love it. And it's a great chance. It's usually a first step too to kind of identify who might be a good candidate for travel training. And yes, we could make that happen for you if you have a school that would like that. We could definitely kind of get that in the works.
Yeah, sounds good. And the other part, since you did mention about the shortage of staff, what is the criteria of getting somebody certified to be a travel trainer in your program, in your department?
Well, yeah, we hired through the DOE sub-para list, the paraprofessionals, the travel trainers are paraprofessionals and teachers. So what we need right now are paraprofessionals. We have a major shortage in the Bronx and Staten Island. So those are our concentration areas for hiring. And we are a citywide program though, so the trainers have to be able to work in all 5 boroughs, because that's what the district programs do, right? We work in every school. So we're in the process. I think I requested it for it to be posted. I have to double check if that was taken care of, and then I'm going to start interviewing and hopefully start training. It takes months though to learn to be a travel trainer. Even though they might start this week, they don't start travel training working with students for months later. It's so many, and then the job is not for everyone, you know. You have to have some street sense, common sense. You have to be punctual. There's so many qualifications that sometimes people get started and they're like, I can't. And then, you know, it's a very difficult job. So it's not easy to find good people who can do it, parents will trust with their child, you know. We're not the normal paraprofessionals that are in the school setting. We're outside in the community. So, you know, I hate to say it, but these have to be the best paraprofessionals and teachers in the D75. So it takes time to find them. It takes time to train them. And, you know, and then even it's the type of job that you're always learning. I've been doing this over 30 years and I still lead the team. It's a team oriented job. We work together as a team. You can't Google this stuff. We learn from each other and we support each other. And it's not easy to hire. So hopefully we get back to full staff in a year or two. And it's really going to take that long to get people to be competent travel trainers. It takes 3 years before you're considered a veteran travel trainer, before you've kind of experienced different disabilities, different situations, different boroughs. So it's going to be a long process back.
So let me just ask this one last question. I'll let Ms. Sachs ask her question. Since we are in New York City and we're such a diverse population, and we try to serve, especially in District 75 being citywide, with a lot of the trust that a lot of families need with the system, how many of your travel trainers may be bilingual and also have that relationship with families in a more diverse culture?
Oh yes, we have a very diverse staff, and it's fun. We work with students who are deaf. We work with students who sometimes don't speak the language. So it's a unique job in that it does help when you speak the language, and usually it's better for the parents, not so much the students, because we have strategies to communicate. And let's just say, if you speak a language, how do you travel if the person on the bus driver doesn't speak the language? So it usually doesn't matter. It's nice for communication and usually with the parents so they understand what we're doing, but it's not necessary all the time. But we do have a diverse staff of different cultures. And when it's a language that we're not familiar with, we'll get help from interpretation, and we'll make some cue cards and keywords, and it usually works out. You know, it's just the unspoken language, and as long as they can, they understand what they're doing, and we're communicating through written, we can get the notes translated. So it usually works out. But again, so while we do have a diverse staff, you don't always speak the language of the person you're working with.
Okay, appreciate that. Thank you. Now just
thank you. Ms. Sachs, you have a question?
Yes. Hi, everybody. First of all, I apologize for being rude before. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see everybody is safe. I just got very happy. I haven't seen David in a very long time. I want to thank you for also bringing up the point about other skills that you can learn, because now parents could be savvy that they could ask for certain of these skills on their child's IEP that could also be incorporated into other areas, socialization, directions, all that familiarity. Tyler's working on first, second, third floor, which you told me is very important for internal and environmental, which is going to allow him to be able to go from his classroom to the office to give something, then come back. So we're working on that. So I wanted to thank you for that. The second thing that I just wanted to say was, I know parents ride in the car with their kids. I do this with Tyler all the time. If we're going on a familiar route and I'm coming to an intersection where I have to, Tyler, do I go left or right? And he has to tell me, do we go straight or this way? Or if we're going 2 routes, do you want to go left? He goes either turn left or want all the straight. So it's something that you could do every single day.
Every day. And that helps so much. That helps them give them familiarization with their neighborhood. If they were to get separated from you, could they get home depending where they are? Again, I had a very compelling statement for a gentleman that was in our Journey to Independence program. He said, I know my child is not going to travel independently, but if we were to be walking somewhere and something happened to me, could he get home? That's what would be a major accomplishment for my child. And we were teaching him the skills and to kind of do that and to get help. I've had students that were nonverbal, got lost, and they know how to use that ID card and get help from the appropriate person to get back safely. And if they don't know how to carry that ID card, use that ID card, that is the minimal skill. That is the most important thing, travel training. That ID card, we practice that every day. So if your child can learn anything about carrying ID card and showing it to the right person, that will be very helpful. And also, Ms. Sachs, our pupil profile, which is our pre-assessment skills that let us know if a child is ready for travel training, we've connected it to Sandy assessment so that the teachers themselves can exactly connect their Sandy skills to that pupil profile so they can teach exactly to it and to make their children more independent and to reach the goals of independent travel, or again, just more independent in the building or where their community or at home.
You know, we always talk and I make suggestions. So I have a suggestion if you will just allow me.
I always listen to Ms. Sachs' suggestions. Let me get my pen because it's going to be a good one.
It's not going to be long. If you can also do workshops or video conference workshops like this one, not dealing with independent travel training, but doing just the opposite and going towards the majority of the kids who are not going to be independently, but what they could do in the school and the community. I think you would get a large core of people who can understand that travel training, not independent travel, but travel training is more than a bus and a train.
Fostering independence in home and in the school, definitely. I've done them in the past. We need to do more because people don't know what they're doing to, sometimes not promote independent travel. We call that mobility training. And that's exactly, what we could do and do more of that. And I'm be happy to do that at any time.
Well, I am going to call you and get you in touch so you can do a workshop.
You have my email, and yes, you have my phone number too. So
yes, I do. Yes, I do. Not that I'm special to anybody. You
are special.
I just want to let you know. So I want to thank everybody for what they do for our children. All those that are on the phone call, from the bottom of my heart, to all those who might have served in the military that I'm not aware of. I thank you for your service. Or if anyone that you know has it. I'm going to have to get off the call. I'm glad that my record is not broken, Mr. Abrahams, and I was able to
never. Thank you so much for your support,
Ms. Sachs. Thank you for your participation.
Everybody. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Mr. Abrahams, I just want to add, kind of piggyback on what Ms. Sachs was speaking about. This is not only about traveling outside. This is more about fostering independence in your child and confidence in your child. So even if, I drive my kid almost everywhere, but I'm not going to be here forever. Exactly. And now she wants to drive, so she's going to be, and it's possible. Who knows? But
it happens.
She's building a lot of confidence, and she will be able to meet and tackle the obstacles that are going to come her way because of this program and what is being taught. She knows that she can do something that she couldn't do last year, and I appreciate, and I really think, I wish I would have done it earlier. I was like, she doesn't need to take the trade. I haven't taken the trade, but it's given her, so I think I would advise parents to sign up as early as possible, even if their children necessarily aren't going to start traveling at 14. Start with the pre-traveling program. A lot of things that we were taught.
Get on the wait list. Get on the don't wait. Refer early, and this way we can start practicing with them. And again, the ones who start early are usually more successful. So when you wait long, it's just hard to break those bad habits. And again, parents, get out there with them. Like I said, you drive most of the time, that's great. But once in a while, let's just take that public transportation. The weather's nice. Even when it's not nice, you might want to do it because that's a whole nother set of skills that they need. But do it sometimes, and prepare ahead of time, plan, let them pick where they want to go. Let them, pick and help them together pick the route, the safe route, and show them how to, use the Google Maps or a bus map. And then when you get on that bus and train, let them use the MetroCard and let them speak to the bus driver. And, again, those are all the little lessons they could, do to foster independence.
And even walking in the neighborhood, as you said, some kids are able
to the store,
to
yes.
walking to Target, walking to
Definitely. Let them shop, give them the grocery list. Go ahead, buy this, here's the money, I'll be right behind you. And let's go, yep.
Yes, Veronica states this should be embedded in the curriculum.
It should be, yeah. And some teachers don't do it because again, with this non-essential skill, I've given this to schools and they've created whole curriculums around it. So some people see the necessary use of it and there's things they're doing, but now it's like, you know what, let me just focus on that one topic per month or week or whatever it is. And then, again, it will just help the students. There's things we take for granted, but we could teach to it. And you could identify which one does my child have a problem with? Is it decision-making? Is it initiating? And then think of things that can promote that specific skill to get them ready. I'm going to be sharing all those little documents for you parents in a little while. As soon as we're finished, I'm going to share everything I have. And again, I'm free to throw things, to have a conversation about. And if you're stuck on something, and something we do with the Journey to Independence, just real quick too. I hear from our parents all the time, especially for students who are not ready to travel yet. Is like, oh, I'm scared to take them out and do street crossing. The streets are so, don't do it outside, do it inside. That's what we do with the Journey to Independence. We practice inside. We put some tape on the floor and we practice crossing streets inside the house or inside in the school, looking left and right. Here's the chair, this is a car. What do you do when the chair moves, the car moves? You get back. We practice inside first. So you do that, then maybe you go outside to a park first, practice in a park, then you take it to a real strainer, a real corner once you feel they're ready. So don't think you have to start outside with the lessons. A lot of our pre-travel is done inside first.
And I just want to add another thing. Our children could do a lot more. We think they can, and I know it's scary, and I know it's a scary world. However, they will surprise us. They have continued to surprise us for their entire lives. And I think just giving them the opportunity to do it, you'll see.
We love showing up to school because they always say, "Oh, this person is referred. They can't do it." I'm like, okay, we'll see. And then it's like they're doing it. I'm like, hello, give them a chance. It happens all the time. Listen, sometimes they know kids, and again, we're not just trying to prove them wrong, but many times they always just say, "This person, we don't think they're appropriate," and I say, let's give them a chance. Again, our philosophy, they're gonna have to show us they can't do it, and that's when we give students a chance. And more often than not, 90% of the times, they do it.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions? Okay, if we don't, I just want to I want to thank everyone for being here, to remind everyone that this will be available on our YouTube outreach page. Also that Mr. Abrahams will be sending information. He sent his contact information. This will also be available on the CCD 75 website. And is there anything else that you would like to say, Mr. Abrahams?
No, I think I said everything. Hoping to meet everyone. Again, don't hesitate to give me a call if you have any questions. I know things will come up later on. My email is always there. Again, just for the referral process, just talk to the transition people, the parent coordinators in your school, and I'm sure they will know how to contact us if you don't know who the travel trainer is in your school area. So, all right.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Carter?
Yeah.
Carter asked a question, and I think you just answered it.
Right, I saw it, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Great to see you again, Ms. Husband, Ms. Amy. See you guys soon, all right?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. My pleasure, my pleasure. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day, everyone.
Interpretations, you can leave the room. Thank you so much.